Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel alive, and there's nothing that makes me happy. Hold my beer for a minute, I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket. I'm going on a trip and I don't plan to visit. I'm gonna stay there till I feel like I'm winning, and this is just the beginning. I need a big change, help me feel like living. I need a big swing, home runs I'm hitting, and I'll never look back, moving on till I get it all. And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? I'll try this, try that, might miss, gotta find what I'm good at. I guess I look here, look there, over where am I scared, where am I at?
YouTube family, what's good with you? It's your boy 2A in LA, and as always fam, anything I say in this episode, prior episodes, and future episodes is just my personal opinion. Don't take it as fact. Don't take it as law. Always do your own homework and come up with your own conclusions. Right about now, fam, I should go ahead and tap that like button for your boy. If you're new to the channel, I want to say welcome. Come on in. You can join the congregation by smashing that subscribe button and requesting all post notifications. And if you are an existing supporter of this channel, fam, I appreciate you more than you can possibly imagine. You are the reason this channel is anything. All right, fam, if you are not a member of the 2A in LA fam club, what are you doing? Look, fam, look just down below. You should see a join button. Hit that join button. For a modest $2.99 a month, you become a channel member. You get access to unreleased footage that nobody else gets to see. You automatically become eligible for our weekly and monthly giveaways, and we give away some incredible things, including optics and weapons lights and range bags, and yes, firearms. So don't miss the opportunity to maybe pick up, you know, one of the prize guns in my vast collection. All right, fam. Also, check out that QR code. Hit it. You see it's right there. Hit that QR code and that will take you to the 2A in LA website, where you can have access to our 2A in LA official merch store. We got all your merch needs taken care of. Also, I'll have all like my affiliate links and promo codes and discount codes there, as well as hot deals of the week. Hit that QR code or hit the link down in the description. All right, fam, now let's get back to the video. All right, fam, let's get this episode rolling. So if you guys have been watching the channel, you guys know I recently got my hands on the Jacob Grey Nox9. The Nox9 represents Jacob Grey's kind of envoy into that high-end luxury 2011 space with a price tag just shy of $6K. And look, this gun scored a 91 out of a possible 100, reached grail gun status, but I told you at the time that, you know, we weren't going to stop there. You guys always want to know how these guns match up against other guns, and so I told you we would take that additional step and we would put it up against some of the best hybrid pistols in my collection, particularly the ones that I felt were kind of similar ilk. And so today, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to take the Jacob Grey Nox9 and we're going to put it up against the Combat Precision GT Darkhorse. Both of these guns are ported and compensated. Both of them are very, very well done. My recollection is that the Combat Precision GT Darkhorse scored a 92 out of a possible 100 on the 2A NLA scale. And as I mentioned, the Jacob Grey scored a 91. Now, the primary difference was that we had a little bit of reliability issues on the Jacob Grey. I think was more ammo related and maybe spring rate related, but impacted the score a little bit. If not for that, the Jacob Grey would have scored as high, or if not higher, than the GT Darkhorse. So let's talk about that. And you know, there's no way I could do a video like this without bringing out the Dark Forge Reaper. Having the Nox9 and the Dark Forge Reaper right next to each other, fam. Oh me, oh my. Oh me, oh my. You talk about battle of the flattest. Now, the Reaper scored a 93 out of a possible 100 again. Had it not been for some reliability struggles, again, I'll attribute some of that to the ammo that I use, some of that to the springing of the gun, but if not for that, it would have likely scored close to or at exactly where the Reaper scored. So let's talk about the differences between these two. All right, fam. First up, the Nox9 versus the Combat Precision GT Darkhorse. I can say this, and I mentioned this when I did the review of the Nox9. I said then that, hey, when Chris James, I thought when I got my GT Darkhorse back that it was an amazing gun. Amazing. Everything about it was amazing. Shootability, fit and finish, accuracy. I said then, though, for a gun that is both ported and compensated, I thought that the gun was a little heavily sprung. But I think part of Chris's mindset, and I know this is how Chris gets down when he tests, is he brings out all the ammo. He wants 115. He wants 124. He wants 147. He wants the plus P. He wants jacketed hollow points. He wants to run everything, and so he springs the gun so that it all is going to run, and it is all going to run there. And that's one of the reasons why this gun is so reliable. So from a reliability standpoint, I definitely give the edge, and he ensures that by doing a ton of polishing on the Darkhorse, the internals, and really, really grooving this gun to be its optimal self. So when it comes to kind of the reliability between the two guns, I'm definitely giving the edge to the GT Darkhorse. Now, when it comes to like fit and finish, I think both of these guns are excellent. Both DLC coated, with the exception of the copper or rose gold parts that are on the Nox9. Those are PVD, but excellent coatings, great fit and finish. And my assessment, kind of externally, I think these guns are very, very well done and comparable. I think, again, Chris James goes the additional mile on the Darkhorse to really spend a lot of man hours doing internal polishing on the internals so that they operate at a premium level. And so I would probably give the edge a little bit there again to the Darkhorse. Now, relative to shootability of these two guns, here's what I would say. The combination, I think the ports and the comp on this gun versus the ports and the comp package on this gun, I think the Nox9 shoots a little bit flatter than the GT Darkhorse. Not much, and if I can put some footage of these two guns up there side by side, I will. but I think maybe just a hair flatter. And that might not be something that shows up on camera, but it's something like you can kind of feel while you're shooting. And so if I had to give an edge, one versus the other versus shootability, I'd probably give a little edge to the Nox9. Alright, when I compare the triggers of these two guns, both of them are outstanding. Both of the trigger scores were 14 out of a possible 15. I think they're great triggers, great feeling triggers. I find them to be right on point. Alright fam, lastly, when it comes to aesthetics, I think I'm going to give the edge ever so slightly to the Nox9. I think both of them have very original looking grip modules. I love kind of the industrial look on the GT Darkhorse, while I think the Nox9 just killed it in terms of aesthetics. If I had to give an edge to one over the other, I'd probably give a slight edge to the Nox9. I think the grip module that they did is just stunning, and the additional coloring just make it stand out a bit more. Alright fam, now if I had to choose between the Nox9 and the Combat Precision GT Darkhorse, what I would do is not. I would not choose either one. I would give both. Are you kidding me? Stop playing with your boy. There's a reason why both of these are going to be in my collection. That said though, I know that's not an option for a lot of people. I would say that also the GT Darkhorse version of this gun is going to be well above $7,000, while the Nox9 will have a sub $6,000 price point. So if you're looking for the best value, there's no doubt that the Nox9 is the better value. Now, I would say the GT Darkhorse is a more rare firearm. You don't see very many of these out in the woods. There's going to be, I want to say the number is somewhere between 50 to 70 of these to produce on a monthly basis until certainly demand dies down. There's no way that Chris James is producing with that kind of volume. So if you're a collector and you're looking for kind of what is going to be the more value gun, I would probably argue that that's going to be the GT Darkhorse. But like I said, if you're just looking for the best bang for your buck, best shooter for your buck, best value, and also arguably slightly better aesthetics, I would choose the Nox9. Alright fam, let's get into the Nox9 versus the Dark Forge Reaper. I think these are very, very good comparable guns. Again, the Nox9 has that relatively small comp with a large kind of sight block on it, and it's got the 3 inline ports, where the Dark Forge Reaper has a much larger comp on it, and you see that the comp kind of takes up the entire sight block picture on the Dark Forge. It also has V ports as well as inline ports. Now, both of these guns are incredibly flat shooting. When we talk about shootability of the gun, I told you that I thought from a shootability perspective that the comps and the ports on the Nox9 were doing a little bit more than the Combat Precision, but I feel conversely that the comp and the ports on the Dark Forge Reaper are outperforming the Nox9. Not by miles or anything of that nature, but I'd say both these guns are incredibly flat shooting. If I can, I'll put up some comparisons up there. Both of these guns are incredibly flat shooting. I just found the Dark Forge Reaper to be a little bit flatter, a little bit softer, and consequently a little bit faster than the Nox9. Now, from a trigger perspective, the Dark Forge Reaper is running an Atlas trigger. I think, I want to say Jacob Grey made their own trigger. Both of them are outstanding. Both scored a 14 out of 15. Both of these triggers run. Alright fam, from a reliability perspective, I told you that the Jacob Grey had a couple of hiccups. the Darkhorse Reaper had none. It just runs. Whatever I ran, 115, 124, 147, plus P, jacketed hollow points, never had an issue in terms of cycling. So from a reliability standpoint, the Reaper definitely gets the edge over the Nox9. Alright, relative to the aesthetics, I think both these guns are phenomenally done. I think that Dark Forge also came with a very unique grip module to distinguish itself. I love the way their serration pattern's going, and see how their serrations on the Dark Forge Reaper go all the way down into the frame. I wish that they had done the same thing on the Nox9. I think it would have even made a beautiful looking gun even more beautiful. But I think aesthetically both these guns are stunning. If I had to give an edge, I would probably give a slight edge to the Nox9 because of the PVD coating on the small parts and the barrel. I just think that gives it some additional flavor to the gun, although this all blacked out murdered looking Dark Forge also says a lot. If you look at the Dark Forge Wraith, they have accent parts that are kind of in that rose gold bronze color that you see here, and that pop makes a difference. I would have done that with the Reaper as well, but both aesthetics are phenomenal. I might give a slight edge to the Nox9. Alright fam, which one is better? I have to give an edge to the Dark Forge Reaper. That said, the Reaper I think is MSRPing around $7,250, while this has a sub $6,000 price tag. So again, if the difference between these guns is nominal in terms of fit and finish, quality of fitment, all that good stuff. Aesthetics, they're very close. Triggers, they're very comparable. The difference in terms of shootability, I'd say, is nominal at best. So if you want to get a gun that is as aesthetically pleasing as the Dark Forge Reaper, and maybe even more, that has comparable shootability, but comes in at $1,200 to $1,500 less, I would consider the Nox9 without a doubt. Alright fam, so those are my thoughts. Look, I think Jacob Grey killed it. I think they knocked it out of the park with the Nox9. Like I said, maybe a little tweaking to the springing of the gun, or I could have changed out arguably the spring myself based on the 124 grain that I was running through it. But I thought excellent job by Jacob Grey. It held up very nicely against these other two guns at a price point that was significantly less. Alright, that's it for this episode, fam. Until next time, as always, take care of one another and peace.